So I won't make the intro so long. I just want to say thank you and welcome, and then we'll enjoy our lunch later. But before that, I would like to introduce the country manager of workbank, Mr. Reggie Fernandez, so that he can share with us what this event is all about. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Char. Can you all hear me clearly? All right. Excellent. Good morning, and thank you very much for taking the time to be here. I know it's normally quite busy, and I'm quite aware of how traffic is in the Philippines. Please pardon my voice as well. I'm not trying to be a singer, but a little bit of a hoarse voice. And sorry.
I'm sorry, but we need the mic.
All right.
There's a bit of an echo.
Right. So anyway, moving on. While I get adjusted for some technical difficulties, I'm also not Steve Harvey, if any of you probably might think otherwise. Nevertheless, what I'd like to actually start with is that we, Workbank, is not a bank. We are a job site, but we have a bank of jobs and a bank of candidates. That's something very important to understand. We'll run through a little bit about who we are, what makes us different, and then we have something very interesting to reveal to you, which is what I think a quite unique element of Workbank. But first, a thought. This is very recently in November of this year, a quote from Business Mirror, which pretty much says that having a college degree is not necessarily sufficient to get a job. This day and age, we talk a lot about skills and upskilling and what are the behavioral skills, etc., that are required for every job. And every recruiter will probably tell you this. Let's first understand the labor landscape, particularly of how we see this. Right? The Philippines has actually got a very strong employment rate. It's probably one of the highest it's been over the past 10 years at 94.6% as of July. And these are statistics from the Philippine Statistics Authority, which means unemployment is relatively low. However, underemployment is where the challenge lies. Now, while it is lower in 2019 than it's ever been before, it still averages about 18% of the working population to be underemployed. Moreover, when we look at the population in itself, over 40% of the workforce comprises of, many of you here, probably Gen Z and millennials, right? The much talked about millennials and Gen Z. In fact, nearly 50% of the Philippines population are below the age of 24. Right? So that's a relatively young population. But also the unemployed also comes predominantly from this category. And that sort of makes sense because the largest population of the employed and largest population of the country also comes from these segments. What I like to highlight is the strong elements of the Philippines. And this forms the basis of what we will talk about. Strong GDP, one of the top fastest growing GDPs in the world. Low inflation, very good for any economy and good for any business that is here. And an avenue of doing business is easing up, and it's notched up 29 places in a very recent report that was published, which is all good signs for a budding and future economy. What's more important is the skilled labor force. When it comes to skilled labor, the Philippines actually tops the ranking along with Oman, Estonia, and the United States. And this is from a report from the CEO World magazine, which puts a score at about 85 out of 100. In terms of English proficiency, much better than the world, much better than Asia. It's in fact number 2 on an English proficiency index in Asia. So strong English component. In addition, the literacy rate of the Philippines stands quite high when it comes to any Asian countries. It's a very strong school. In terms of Gen Z, 70% of Gen Z are already equipped with tech skills. That's higher than the regional average, which is at 62%, and higher than the global average of 52%. This was by Dell Technologies research done last year, and it's quite evident that a lot of the good elements of the Philippines is not highlighted enough, and this is just one of them, which is basically the technology skill element. And very important then, and as we pointed out, young population, young Gen Z population, tech-savvy population, and it's important then to understand actually what makes them tick, right? So some elements from a survey that we did, the youth below 24 years old are predominantly, what they find important is that they would like to provide for their family, which is probably security. They like doing other things, so they like a balanced lifestyle, whether it's travel, whether it's charity, whether it's going out about, cycling. I've seen a lot of people cycle over here, which is fantastic. They like making more money, which is probably universal, but they also like having a career progression. So purpose is an important element. They like to kind of contribute to whether it's climate change or whether it's any other social, economic problem. They like to be part of it. So this is the youth of today in the Philippines, a large population of the country. Which is why ultimately we saw the birth of workbank and the concept of workbank. And I'd like to touch upon a little bit more about the story here, which is where the time to give back originated predominantly from our founders. Two quotes that stood quite strong from, again, publications out there is that the Filipinos are some of the best workers in the world, and I vouch for that, having worked with Filipinos not just here but in my previous career overseas as well. And it's also the most valuable resource of our country is the Philippines, the most valued asset. Which is why our co-founder and chairman, Jason Francis, who is of Indian origin, along with some of our other promoters, have been associated with the Philippines for over 20 years. He runs a business back in Qatar that has been employing Filipinos for the past 20 years. And in 2002, he won the Malacanang Award from the President for hiring the highest number of OFWs back in the Qatar. Having benefited for over 20 years from the strong skilled labor, it was his way and the promoter's way of giving back. It's time to come back to the Philippines after 20 years. And that's how the principle of Malasakit actually began. And I got introduced to this term after coming here to the Philippines, but I always experienced it having worked with Filipinos in my previous life. So workbank, to kind of point out, is a job site that is driven and founded on the principle of Malasakit, which is care and compassion. And what we aim to do is not just be a job site, but also assist candidates and recruiters to make their job hiring and their application process a lot easier. I will tell you a little bit of how. Our vision is ultimately to enable candidates as well as recruiters to grow, to have some fulfillment, and be successful as talents in every business that they join. And ultimately, as a mission, we want to bridge businesses to have qualified and prime talents within them. How do we do this? So candidates not only can find jobs on Workbank as a job site, but there are certain other elements that actually differentiates us, where we provide candidates with a set of benefits. We employ a smart matching technology algorithm, which matches jobs not just on your desktop, but also on your mobile. So it's a very mobile accessible site, so it gives you a completely different experience. What's different is that we provide free trainings and exclusive perks, and I'll explain a little bit more about that, of how this forms part of the entire journey in your job application process. More so, if you're a Workbank candidate, you can earn by referring your friends and family to become Workbank candidates, because at some point in anybody's career, you're always looking for jobs, or a job just might be available that meets your skill set. But we don't forget the recruiter as well. We know recruiters want to find the best talent. That's a given. But it is up to us to provide them with the right tools so that they can find the right talent quickly and the appropriate talent for their organization. This is why we have a customizable recruitment tool. Each recruiter is different and it depends on what your requirement is. You can ultimately get, you can design your product the way you want. We have an improved quality of applicants because not only do we provide free trainings to help you upskill, we also allow you to get match the right job. But we also integrate with the right kind of partners. We've integrated with Profiles Asia, which some of you may or may not know, but they provide a lot of psychometric tests. A candidate can take 3 types of psychometric tests for free and ultimately understand their personalities a little bit better. DISC personality, interest profiler, your mental toughness. Why this is important? Because before you go to an interview as well, a recruiter can understand you better than what your CV or your profile says. It gives you a better holistic perspective, so an improved quality of that individual. Our platform and our team is dynamic. We have technology running behind all of this, and we invest in technology. We have a team of technology professionals that help us provide the platform. And as a result of us being young and a fresh face and having technology behind us, we are dynamic, which means we can adapt, which means we can ultimately work with recruiters to address their needs. For us, it's always important to understand where are some of the pain points that recruiters have. Give you a sense of where we are right up till now. So while we began developing this in 2018, in the past 10 months or so, we've begun to grow our candidate database. Predominantly female is the composition of our current candidate database, but 99% of the entire database is actively looking for jobs. That's a good sign. Relatively young candidate base, and it goes back to the point I made earlier. Young population, one of the youngest. Median age of below 25 is one of the youngest in Asia. So a lot of freshers, a lot of them looking for their first job, a lot of them contributing to the economy. And as a result, all of them have bachelor degrees, and that's our composition across the board. In terms of industries, we cover predominantly every industry that's out there. We're just highlighting some of the top industries, but what's evident here is we are not industry agnostic. We're quite in that respect. And a lot of them are ultimately entry level or junior level positions, but we do cover the other avenues as well. So we're quite distributed when it comes to our demographics. We continue to build our candidate database, and applying as a candidate to our job site is free. So for a candidate to create their profile is relatively easy, and it doesn't cost them anything. And they get these additional benefits, which I will talk about. We are a job site with a mobile first design. So I wanted to kind of just highlight. It's where you go to workbank.com and you're pretty much on the job site. There's a reason why. Over 70% of the Philippines population has a phone. 90% of that has a smartphone. It's one of the highest penetrated markets in the world when it comes to mobile devices, internet usage, etc. And it's only sensible to ultimately be there, which is why we put a lot of our energy and technology behind being mobile first, where you can ultimately access our portal through the mobile. To give you some metrics around it, we're probably one of the fastest job sites when it comes to a page speed loading element as per Google page speed test. On our desktop, we have a 99 score out of 100, and on mobile, we have currently at 87 out of 100. What this predominantly means is that you can access your pages quicker, you can find more jobs, and if you are in distant places like the provinces, it's not a challenge where you're waiting for your pages to load. Particularly for people looking for jobs from the provinces, the user experience is faster, and that's what we want to emphasize and work towards. And ultimately, they are able to go through more pages and more jobs to find what they're looking for. Here is where we put our candidates first. While we're a job site that connects job seekers to recruiters, we also provide resources that help job seekers in their job hunting applications. We've partnered with Grab, Why? Because when somebody is called for an interview by a recruiter, we want to make it easier for a candidate to get to that particular interview. So we give you 100 peso if you're called for an interview by any recruiter. That's just an experience so that you make it to the interview, and that's something that we've heard from our recruiters as well. You might want to buy some new clothing. Maybe it's an interview you really want to make an impression, right? We partnered with Zalora where you can get 300 peso off when you spend a 1500 minimum. And you have a promo code and you can ultimately utilize that, get something new, make a big impression. We've also partnered with Papalis. Now, if you've not heard of Papalis, they're a more digitized approach of trying to get your education documents. I know standing in a line here can be quite, can be quite cumbersome. So Papalis allows you to raise that request for a 20% discount, and they will do all of the legwork for you. They will go to the universities and schools in NCR and get the documents that you require. And so here it's trying to create a user experience where it eases the convenience fee. We also put our candidates first because this is a key component of us. We provide free trainings and seminars where we've established ourselves with a few training partners. The likes of Southeast Asia speakers and trainers who've been here in the Philippines for many years. Is also a Civil Service Commission accredited trainer. And we have a partnership with them, and I'll show you a little bit of what we've done with them. We've also partnered with Scale, where some of the training has been around core values, around behavior. These are things that are quite important in the workplace, and it's something that we can take with us wherever we go. It's not, again, job specific, but it's about our personalities. We work with John Robert Powers, another brand I think over here that's quite popular. And the training we did there was around image branding, your personality. How do you present yourself at jobs? How do you